Good morning and welcome back to X-Carbovore. So much to talk about this morning about my journey. This is day 5. I'm excited that we've made it this far. Let's expatiate inside. Well, thank you for joining me once again to X-Carbovore. Things are starting to change. Body's starting to feel a little different. Um, We don't normally talk about some of the uncomfortable things to talk about when it comes to the carnivore way of eating, or should I say the carnivore way of living. I don't see this as a diet. I see this as a way of living. I think when you take on something like this, it's a lifestyle change. It really is here and something that you should be able to manage for life. So you're going to hear 100 million ways of how to do the carnivore diet. Some are very, very strict. Meat, ruminant animals, such as your beef, your deer, things of that sort. But typically, fatty meats are going to be great for you. And you're going to hear some that says water only. Some will say water, black coffee only. Some will say water, coffee with butter, or coffee with cream only. Some would say they have a diet soda. That I kind of. Anyway, you're going to hear a lot of things, but think of it this way. When you are doing the carnivore diet, you have to consider, can I maintain it? This is something that's very important when you are taking on a lifestyle change. Diets, and we've all done them, gives you the yo-yo effect. You're here, you're smaller. You get bigger, and you say, I'm bigger than I was before I started. And now you get smaller again. No, enough of that. Let's get off that roller coaster. Get to something that you can maintain. And the carnivore diet is something, let me take that away. The carnivore way of living is something that you can do for life. So kryptonite is the word for today. If you remember Superman, and you remember that where he came from, he was like everyone else. But when he came to the earth and landed here, he had superpower until they discovered one weakness with him. And that was a stone that was from Krypton. And they called it kryptonite. Here, I have my kryptonite, and that's carbohydrates. I'm a weakling around carbohydrates. I normally try to run. I normally try to find a place that I can be happy and peaceful and not think about my kryptonite. Listen, guys, when you're doing this way of living, you have to be cautious in the beginning, but later, the thing that made you fall, the thing that made you weak, later it won't even disturb you. It's just there. It's like you've been living on Krypton all your life. So that's the word for today. Let's get into some of my results of what I've seen and the bigger changes that have taken place on this day 5. So, I'll let you guys know, my wife fell off the wagon yesterday. Actually, it's really kind of funny because her numbers are always better than my numbers. I think I mentioned that on day 3 or day 4. And this morning I woke up thinking my numbers are going to be out of the park. I had some surprises. My food that I was eating, at least what I had yesterday, which was very, very nice, some tuna and some eggs. Let's see, what else did I have? I think that was it. I think I had some ground beef earlier that was left over from the previous day and some hamburger patty. But I think that was it. I drank coffee and water. I love my coffee. I can go without it. I did a 70-day stint, no coffee. And I was fine. And I think I can manage to keep doing that if I wanted to, but I choose not to because I enjoy my coffee. And I think when you do this way of eating and this way of living, you should make it as convenient for yourself as possible. Personally, I don't feel that I have any side effects from coffee. I feel the same with or without it. Coffee doesn't stop me from sleeping. Coffee doesn't give me a pep. I just enjoy the smell and the taste and the nice warmth. And when I get tired of coffee, and I do, I just drink hot water. And I think that sounds odd to some people, but when I really want to spice up my hot water, I take some unsalted butter, I melt it really nice, and I add that with my hot water. And it's delicious. Tastes like buttered popcorn to me. Maybe that's because I've been doing this carnivore thing for a while and I've just got the imagination going. Nonetheless, let's talk about some of my results from yesterday to today and tell you a little bit about some of the things that have changed and some things that have gotten better. Let's start with my blood pressure. Now, as I look at my blood pressure reading, actually today my blood pressure is better than it was yesterday. It's gone down a point or two, 6 points on the diastolic, 1 or 2 points down on the systolic. In the long scheme of things, this probably balances out, but in the end, we want to see me get back into the normal range for my blood pressure. And this, again, is without medication. Only thing that I'm doing, I've changed my lifestyle, my habit of eating. And the thing that I've taken away are all the carbs. Now, my favorite carbs, once again, I like to tell you guys because I don't want to forget of the cakes, the candies, the pastas, the cookies, the pies. Love the pies. And speaking of pies, it's soon Thanksgiving. And some would say this would be the worst time to start carnivore. I would challenge that because every day you do carnivore, there's a food challenge or kryptonite that's sitting around. And at some point, you're going to have to break it. Why not start in the heaviest? One of my biggest disappointments is when I can go through Thanksgiving, through the holiday season, through my birthday early in January, no cake, none of that stuff, and then fall for some jelly beans a couple of days later. The shame of it. I'm so weak. But now things are changing. And as I said, I'm using this period between now and the new year to ramp up for 2025. My goal is 2025, stay alive and make it through with carnivore. That's what I want to do. I want to make a whole year of being able to live this way, not only to prove to myself, but let my doctors know, hey, this is working. It's a viable way of living. As Dr. Ken Berry says, it's the proper human diet. I love it. And it really is the proper human diet. If you think back to the caveman days, we didn't have cookies and cakes and ice cream and things of that sort. They would eat and they would eat the fat of the meat. They would hunt and they would save the meat and they'd eat more meat. I mean, it was awesome. I don't think they had to worry. Like the other day, I went to get my teeth cleaned. how much tartar, we call it, vad hette det på svenska? Sten. I can't remember the name in English. Nonetheless, they had to clean off all of this, tartar, from my lower, underhaken themselves, from my lower jaw. And I don't think that would have been an issue back in the caveman days. Certainly, they lived a long life. I don't think they had a method of toothbrushing or anything like that. And it probably wasn't so necessary. The one thing I loved that my dental hygienist said, which was the first time I've ever heard this, was, I don't have to see you again until next year. Your teeth look great. Now, I've never had that happen to me before. It was always every 6 months or something like that, because all the candies and things that I ate, all the carbs and all that stuff, no matter how well I brushed, I always had some issues. So my blood pressure actually got me a bit excited, which was great. But then I was a little surprised. I took my weight this morning, and surprisingly, yesterday we had a 0.3 decrease in my weight. Today, I had a 0.6 decrease in my weight. Let's look at those results now. Today, I weighed 92.6, which is awesome. I am ecstatic. Now, I've been lower, but what I like to see is when the weight is falling off and I don't feel the effects of it. And what do I mean by that? I'm not getting dizzy. I'm not feeling hungry. I don't feel like I'm suffering. The body's just changing. And the weight, again, is not my primary focus. I really don't care about the weight. I think I'm handsome with or without it. I think maybe I look worse without it. To be honest with you, some people would say I look a lot older as I get skinny in the face. But my goal is to be healthy and to live healthy and not have the issues that bigger people are tending to have, not only in the US, but around the world. So I'm excited about that. That was a good thing and great news to have. So the most important thing to me about eating a carnivore way is the GKI. And my GKI was very disappointing, I would say, today, because I was expecting for the GKI to go down even deeper. My goal is to be at a 3 or below. And I know this is only day 5 for me on the carnivore way of eating. And I know that it takes time. So I'm not disappointed. I'm still being held accountable. And that's why I'm talking to you today. I want to make this happen. I want to make it through this period of toughness, because it gets difficult in the beginning. But we can do this thing together. And if you're thinking about doing carnivore, we can do this thing together. My ketone yesterday was 0.6 millimoles per liter, which is fine. That's the low level of being in ketosis, or a therapeutic level anyway. But this morning it was 0.5. So it was 0.6 yesterday. Now it's 0.5. So if I was just looking at ketones alone, I'd be disappointed. But I look at my glucose. My glucose is normally in the low 5s. I think yesterday it was 5 point something, 5.2, maybe 5.5. I can't remember, maybe 5.6. Today it was 4.5. And I was like, yes, my sugar, I'm in the 4 range, which I'm rarely in the 4 range. My wife normally can get there much faster than me. She can get to the 3.9, 3.8 range. I don't know how she does it, but it happens for her. And she still feels great. Me, 4.5, I felt fantastic. I'm not having any sort of shakes or jivers or anything like that. I feel great. But then when I do the GKI, yesterday my GKI was 8.6. Today my GKI was 9.0. And so that was a little disappointing for me. It happens, but a little disappointing nonetheless. Let's talk about the GKI for the moment. So once again, the GKI means glucose ketone index, and it's a more accurate way of understanding where your body is as far as being in ketosis. Rather than just looking at your ketone level, you look at um, the two levels and use a conversion method to see and the two levels will be your glucose and your ketones. And then you figure out that way. Actually, this machine can do it, but you can do it by hand if you like. But why do they build calculators if you're going to still do it by hand? That's the lazy man in me. Sorry, baby boomer. Anyway, so there are 5 levels of your GKI. And if you look with me on the screen, I will show you exactly what they are. If you look at the lowest one, greater than 9, I'm 9 today, you're not in ketosis. You're just not. And okay, live with it. Don't give up because you're not there yet. You gotta walk before you could run. You gotta go through the forest before you get to the beach. You gotta understand that this is the way it's gonna be. It is what it is. My mother hates it when I say that. Let's look at the next one, the one 6 through 9. You're in a low level of ketosis. That's awesome. I never saw myself between 6 and 9, other than I did yesterday, because that's what happens when you do videos. You catch yourself. The next level is 3 to 6. 3 to 6, you're in a moderate level of ketosis. The people that are type 2 diabetics, if you're obese, if you're insulin resistant, metabolic or endocrine disorders, this is the level that's for you. Be between 3 and 6 in your GKI. Now, you can't do this if you're just taking your ketones. You can't do this if you're just looking at your sugars. But if you look at the combination, this is the level you need to stay in. You can test yourself every morning, and you can be assured that this is working for you. And this is what I love about the carnivore diet. It's not just a diet. Yeah. It's healthy. It's a way of living, and it cures many illnesses, metabolic disorders. I mean, even they're studying right now the effects it has on cancer. So I love this for us. Let's look at the next level. The next level is 1 through 3. You're in a high therapeutic level of ketosis. This is where I need to be. I need to be in level 1 through 3. For those using keto therapeutically, this is the treatment of diseases such as cancer, epilepsy, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, traumatic brain injury, and chronic inflammatory disease. I have like 3 of these right now. If you're inflamed, if you're having pain in your joints, this is the level that you need to be at. Level 1 through 3. And that's where I felt the best, when I was at level 1 through 3. If you're going to get to the highest level, which is less than 1, it's very difficult, they say, to achieve without doctor's assistance or doctor supervision. And I think they get worried just a bit if you're that high, or should I say that low. But if you're like me, I have tumors in various areas of my body, my chest, my stomach, one in my right thigh. But these things all seem to get better. I shouldn't say seem. They are getting better. I could feel in my chest, and I could feel the ridges of the tumor. Before, I could just feel the knot, but the ridges, it means that the tumor has shrunk, and I could actually feel the skeletal structure of it. Yeah. And the right side is almost vanished. The left side is still there, and that chest side is a little bit larger. My thigh, the knots almost evaporated. It was more like a golf ball and raised and hard. Now it's still, as far as the diameter, is still pretty big, but it's not raised anymore, So even that is reducing. So when I'm at a level 3, I feel great. I'm only at a level 9 right now. So help me get to where I need to be. So this is why I love the GKI. And this is how I interpret what it does for my body. Well, folks, I think that's it for day 5. Listen, if you're enjoying what you see and you're enjoying following me, because I enjoy having you here, it's really an encouragement to me. And I want you to know that. You're keeping me motivated. And it's important that I stay motivated in order to do this. And without you, I would lose a little bit of motivation. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Write me a note. Let me know that you're checking me out. Keep me accountable. And be sure to tell all your friends that there's a guy like me doing a thing like this. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.